Hi there. I hope you guys have been doing well. I took a little bit of time off to do some yard work and some projects around the house, but I am back and I plan on putting out content again more regularly. So that's that. Before I get into this, I need to bring up something that was brought to my attention yesterday, and that is YouTube is unsubscribing people from my channel. So if you are here, be sure to check and make sure you are still subscribed if you would like to be so, and check back regularly because YouTube, again, is up to some shit on my little channel. It boggles my mind. Why are they fucking with me? It's a small channel. Come on, YouTube. We're not hurting anybody here. But anyhow, this is a Twitter thread that was sent to me this morning by my dear friend Aaron over at Wrong Think Radio. So I'm going to add a little commentary while I go through it, but I just want to kind of read this to you and then give you my full opinion on what I just read after I'm finished. So without further ado, let's begin. This comes from Krista Vernoff. I have no fucking idea who that is, but she is a virtue signaling white woman with a blue check mark on Twitter. Therefore, pretty much everything that comes out of her mouth from this point forward, at least in my opinion, is utter bullshit because she has a blue check mark. But let's go ahead and read what she has to say, shall we? When I was 15, I was chased through a mall by police who were yelling, "Stop, thief!" I had thousands of dollars of stolen merchandise on me. I was caught, booked, sentenced to 6 months of probation, required to see a parole officer weekly. I was never even handcuffed. Okay. When I was 18, I was pulled over for drunk driving. When the police officer asked me to blow into the breathalyzer, I pretended to have asthma and insisted I couldn't blow hard enough to get a reading. I'm not buying that. I've taken a breathalyzer before. You don't have to blow that fucking hard. Now, I'm obviously not a cop, but if there are any out there listening to this, can you please explain to me if this is actually a thing that could possibly fucking happen, that somebody could get out of taking a breathalyzer because they have asthma? All right, let's continue. The officer laughed, then asked my friends to blow, and when one of them came up sober enough to drive, he let me move to the passenger seat of my car and go home with just a verbal warning. All right. When I was 19, I got angry at a girl for flirting with my sister's boyfriend and drunkenly attacked her in the middle of a party. Fucking rational thing to do, you know? Really, really. I swung a gallon jug of water full force at her head. The police were never called. That's probably because you missed her head. Because if you hit somebody in the head with a gallon jug that was full, you might hurt them. I have a hard time believing that this happened. I really do. I really, really do. But I'll just keep going. When I was 20, with all my strength, I punched a guy in the face while we were both standing 2 feet from a cop. The guy went to the ground and came up bloody and screaming, and he wanted me arrested, that he was pressing charges. Okay. Do you guys see a theme here? This chick's just a fucking badass, man. Betty Badass over here. Just going around beating people up and then virtue signaling about it on YouTube. This is one of the reasons why I don't want women making fucking decisions for me. I don't know how many times I have to say that. I won't say it anymore the rest of this time. But if this were to happen, let's just stop for another minute. If this happened in the real world, this guy would probably fucking go to jail for some reason. We know how it goes. We know how domestic violence is. She can knock the shit out of him. And if he's screaming and acting irrational and bleeding, he'd probably get arrested. So I have a really fucking hard time buying into this chick story. But I'll continue, because here's the kicker to this one, which is going to make you doubt what she's saying too. The cop pulled me aside and said, "You don't punch people in front of cops," then laughed and said that if I ever joined the police force, he'd like to have me as a partner. I was sent into my apartment and told to stay there. Oh my God. I can't fucking believe this, okay? I think this chick's a fucking liar. You know, again, something that's pretty common with them blue check marks over on Twitter. Let's continue. Between the ages of 11 and 22, my friends and I were chased and or admonished by police on several occasions for drinking or doing illegal drugs on private property in public. I have no criminal record. I'm wondering if she had no father figure around either. Okay? If I had been shot in the back by police after the shoplifting incident in which I knowingly and willfully and soberly and in broad daylight ran from the cops, would you say I deserved it? Maybe. It depends on the situation. Being that you supposedly went through all of these, things when you were younger, to where if you had ever been held accountable for your actions, you'd have a rap sheet a mile long. Yeah, I would take that into consideration, whether or not you should have been shot from running from the cops. But we'll continue. I'm asking the white people reading this to think about the crimes you've committed. Note, you don't call them crimes. You and your parents call them mistakes. Think of all the mistakes you've made that you were allowed to survive. Hold on. I gotta go back. Legal drugs. Called the cops. Hit somebody again. Drove drunk. Got caught stealing. Call me crazy, but at any point did she refer to any of the things that she did as crimes, or did she just make them seem like they were simple mistakes? Just curious. Didn't look like she mentioned crime there when she was talking about herself either, but okay. Defunding the police is not about living in a lawless society. It's about the fact that in this country, we're not supposed to get shot by police for getting drunk. Yeah, no shit. I guarantee Daniel Shaver would have something to fucking say about that. But you wouldn't want to hear about that because he's white. In fact, you probably have no fucking clue who that is. The system that lets me live and murders Rayshard Brooks is a broken system that must change. Stop defending it. Demand the change. By creating hashtags like Black Lives Matter, white privilege, and defund the police. Okay. Everyone knows by now that Rayshard Brooks, he wasn't just sleeping in a Wendy's parking lot. He wasn't. Go look it up. I'm not going to fucking get into that right now. I just want to point this out because this is the part that's the best part of all of this. And this is why I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't get so mad at the white women for talking about their white privilege. Because you see, when they expose this, they think they're teaching people about this. What they're actually showing people is that they have this. Yeah. If she were a white man and she'd actually committed any of the stuff that she was talking about, which again, I think is a bunch of bullshit, she would not have gotten away with it. Her pussy pass allowed her to get away with those things if those things in fact did happen. Let's pretend they did. If they did, her pussy privilege is the reason why she was not arrested for any of those crimes. Not because she was white, because she has a pussy. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I may change my mind when it comes to these white women virtue signaling about white privilege. Because at the very least, they're now opening the doors so we can have conversations about female privilege and pussy privilege. And then when they try to deny it later on, when that maybe one day becomes the topic of conversation, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. Which is usually the case with women. They have no one to blame but themselves. And that's why they will continue to blame you, especially you white males out there. If you guys enjoyed this, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I'm Sag Novotny, and this is my war on women.